Tonight, I want you to notice how your body has been holding your day as if it's been afraid to put it down. Not just your mind, your body. Your shoulders may be a little higher than they need to be. Your jaw may still be working on a sentence you wish you had said differently. Your belly may be holding a small knot because it hasn't been sure it was allowed to relax. And I want you to know something very gently, very clearly. You are allowed to set the day down now. You do not have to carry it into sleep. You do not have to solve it tonight. You do not have to keep reliving it to prove you care. There is a wisdom inside you that knows how to close a day, the way the sky closes itself around evening. Even if today was messy, even if today was too much, even if today had moments you would never choose again, you can still release it with love. Some nights, the moment your head meets the pillow, your mind tries to turn the day into a courtroom. It presents evidence. It replays the moment. It cross-examines your choices. And you sit there, half awake, half exhausted, trying to defend yourself to your own thoughts, as if rest must be earned by perfect behavior, as if you have to think it through one more time so it won't happen again, as if sleep is a privilege, not a birthright. But you see, there is a difference between reflection and punishment. Reflection has a softness to it. It leaves you wiser. It leaves you clearer. Punishment tightens the body. It keeps you alert. It keeps you bracing, as if your own mind is an unsafe place to be. And if that's been happening for you, I want you to hear this without judgment. It makes sense. Many of us learned very early that being relaxed was risky, that if we weren't watching carefully, we might miss something, that if we weren't hard on ourselves, we might not become better. So the mind stays on duty. It does overtime at night. It calls it responsibility. But deep inside, your spirit knows a tired heart cannot heal while it is being interrogated. Tonight is not for interrogation. Tonight is for a gentle hand on your own chest. Tonight is for closing the day, the way you would close a book you've been reading for hours, with gratitude for what you learned, and permission to stop reading now. And this is where the message from the universe begins to arrive, not as fireworks, but as a quiet rearranging. Maybe you've been asking for a sign. Maybe you've been waiting for clarity. Maybe you've been wondering if you're doing life right, and the universe, in its simple, tender way, has been trying to reach you through one honest truth. You don't need more thinking tonight. You need more kindness. You don't need to squeeze answers out of an exhausted mind. You need to let the day complete itself, because every day has its own intelligence, even the difficult ones, even the ones that didn't go as planned, even the ones with disappointment sitting in the middle of them. They still carry gifts, and gifts do not require you to suffer to receive them. You see, your nervous system doesn't release because you tell it to. It releases when it feels met with kindness. So we are not going to force anything tonight. We are not going to command your thoughts to stop. We are not going to fight with your emotions. We are not going to make your body get calm in a strict way. We are going to offer your inner world something it recognizes: safety. And safety is created in very small, very consistent ways. Like the way you soften your breath when no one is watching. Like the way you let your tongue rest instead of pressing it to the roof of your mouth. Like the way you unclench your hands, one finger at a time. If you can, right now, let your breath become just a little slower. Not perfect, not dramatic, just slightly more spacious. And if your mind is still talking, that's okay. We're not here to silence it. We're here to change the relationship you have with it. Because the mind can be like a child that doesn't want to go to bed. It will keep asking questions. It will keep bringing you one more thing. And what does a wise, loving presence do? It doesn't scream at the child. It doesn't threaten the child. It doesn't leave the child alone in the dark. It stays close. It speaks softly. It reassures. So tonight, you are going to become that loving presence for yourself. There is a difference between learning from a day and wearing it like a weight. Learning is light. It integrates. Wearing is heavy. It drains. And you may have been wearing things that were never meant to be worn overnight. Someone else's mood. Someone else's expectations. A moment that already passed. A worry that has not even arrived yet. And I want to say this in a way that your whole being can receive. You were never meant to stay on duty all night. Sleep is not a time to keep proving your worth. Sleep is the time when your body repairs, when your heart reorganizes itself, when your mind sorts what matters from what doesn't, and when you deny yourself sleep by staying in the courtroom, you are not being responsible. You are being unkind. Now I know that may feel confronting, because you may believe that if you stop thinking, you will lose control. But the point of power is always in the present moment, and right now, in this present moment, you are in a bed or on a pillow or under a blanket. Right now, you are safe enough to let go of at least one thing. Just one. And here is a beautiful truth. You don't have to release the entire day all at once. You can release it in layers. You can release it in pieces. You can start with the simplest layer, the physical. Let your shoulders drop a tiny amount. Let your eyes soften behind the lids. Let your belly be a place that breath can move through. And if you notice resistance, if your body says, "No, I can't relax," don't argue with it. Just say, "I hear you," because even resistance is trying to protect you. Sometimes the body holds tension because it thinks tension is protection. It thinks tightness keeps you prepared. It thinks vigilance keeps you safe. But tonight, you are giving your body new information. You are telling it, without words at first, you can rest now. And you might notice something as you do this. Underneath the thoughts, there may be a feeling. Maybe sadness, maybe disappointment, maybe frustration, maybe loneliness. maybe a quiet grief you didn't have time to acknowledge today. And I want to tell you something that heals many people when they truly understand it. Feelings do not need to be fixed to be released. They need to be felt with love. A feeling is like a wave. If you let it move, it moves. If you clamp down on it, it stays stuck. So if there is a feeling here tonight, we are not going to push it away. We are going to sit with it for a moment, as if you are sitting beside a friend who is having a hard time. Not talking over them, not giving advice immediately, just being there. And the universe, again, speaks through that kind of presence. Because the universe is not only in signs outside you, it is in the quiet intelligence inside you that says, "Be gentle, this is tender." Now, let's look at the day in a new way. Not as a problem, not as a verdict, not as proof of who you are, but as information. Today showed you something. Maybe it showed you where you have been giving too much. Maybe it showed you where you have been ignoring your own needs. Maybe it showed you where an old pattern still tries to run the show. And if you made choices you regret, you can learn from them without turning them into your identity. You are not your worst moment. You are not that sentence you wish you could take back. You are not that reaction. You are a growing, learning being in the middle of life. And life is not a test you pass or fail. It is a journey where you keep coming home to yourself. This is only a thought, and a thought can be changed. So if the thought tonight is, "I ruined it," we can soften that thought. If the thought tonight is, "I'm behind," we can soften that thought. If the thought tonight is, "I should be different," we can soften that thought. Not by forcing a shiny replacement, but by bringing in something truer, something kinder, something that your system can actually believe. Because beliefs do not change through bullying. They change through consistent tenderness. Now, I want you to imagine the day as something you can gently return to its rightful place, not inside you, but behind you. Imagine the day as a room you've been standing in for hours. Some things in that room were beautiful. Some things were uncomfortable. Some things were unfinished. But you do not have to stand there all night. Tonight you can walk to the doorway, and you can do something simple. You can turn the light off. Not because everything was perfect, not because everything was resolved, but because you are allowed to close a room even when it isn't spotless. You are allowed to stop working even when there is more that could be done. You are allowed to end a day even when your mind says, "One more thing." And as you reach for that light switch, you may notice how often you've demanded completion before rest. How often you've said, "I'll relax when it's finished, when it's solved, when they understand, when I get it right." And the universe has been quietly correcting that belief in your life. Maybe through delays that forced you to slow down. Maybe through doors that didn't open no matter how hard you pushed. Maybe through moments when you were exhausted enough to finally admit, I can't do it all. That was not failure. That was guidance. Because there is a different kind of strength, the strength to soften. And tonight, your softness is not weakness. It is wisdom. Now let's get very practical, very simple. There is something powerful about a nightly practice. It tells the mind and body, this is how we close. This is how we complete. Just like you brush your teeth, not because you're ashamed of them, but because you care for them. You can also cleanse your inner world. Tonight, we are going to offer your mind a sentence, not a chant that tries to override you, a sentence that completes the day, a sentence that tells your body, I am done now. And before we say it, I want you to understand why this works. Words are not just meaning. Words are vibration. And when you speak kindly to yourself, even quietly, something inside you hears it. Your inner child hears it. Your nervous system hears it. The part of you that has been bracing hears it. And that part begins to soften, not because you forced it, but because it feels met. Now, very softly, we are going to speak a single sentence that tells your inner world it is safe to close the day. You can say it out loud if you like, or whisper it, or simply let it land inside you. Here it is. I release this day with love. Let it be gentle. I release this day with love. And notice, your mind may want to argue. It may say, but what about, but I didn't, but they, but tomorrow. And you can simply return. Release this day with love. Not because you approve of everything that happened, but because you refuse to keep hurting yourself with it. Love is not approval. Love is presence, and you are choosing presence. Again, softly. I release this day with love. Now, let's deepen it without changing it. As you say it again, allow it to include the parts of the day you liked and the parts you didn't. I release this day with love. That means you are releasing the good without clinging and releasing the hard without carrying. Again, I release this day with love. Now let that sentence touch the places where you are still tight. If your jaw is tense, let it hear the sentence. If your shoulders are tense, let them hear it. If your belly is tight, let it hear it. I release this day with love. And if emotions come, that's okay. Sometimes the body begins to soften and the tears finally have room. Tears are not a setback. They are release. They are the body's way of letting the water move again. Now, let's apply this to something specific. If there was a moment today you keep replaying, bring it to mind gently. not as punishment, just as a picture. Maybe it was a conversation. Maybe it was a look someone gave you. Maybe it was a decision. And now, place love around that moment, not as a lie, as a healing. Say the sentence again. I release this day with love. And as you do, imagine that moment loosening its grip, not disappearing, just becoming less sharp. Because what often keeps a moment stuck is the way we hold it. We grip it, we squeeze it, we push against it. And the universe whispers, loosen your hand, let it teach you, then let it go. Now, if there is something unfinished today, a task, an email, a plan, notice how your mind tries to keep you awake by saying, you must remember. So we give your mind a new plan. You can say to yourself, it is safe to pause. I will return to what matters when it is time. You don't have to fear forgetting. If something truly matters, it will return with the morning light. Your mind is not a container you must keep shaking all night. It is a garden, and gardens rest. Now, if there is someone you're carrying, someone you're upset with, someone you miss, someone whose energy is still on you, you do not have to resolve the entire relationship tonight. But you can stop wearing their energy in your bed. Your bed is for you. So, in your mind, you can gently hand them back to life, not with anger, with boundaries. You can silently say, I let you belong to your own life tonight, and then I release this day with love, because love includes letting go. Now, bring this practice to your own self. Sometimes the hardest person to release is you. The version of you who didn't do enough. The version of you who was too sensitive. The version of you who overreacted. The version of you who tried so hard and still felt it wasn't enough. I want you to meet that version of you tonight with the kindness you deserved back then. Because much of what troubles us today is old tenderness asking to be met. So you can place a hand on your heart, if that feels comforting, and you can speak to yourself like someone who loves you deeply. You might say, I see how hard you tried today, and let that be true, because you did, even if you stumbled, even if you didn't do it the way you wanted, you were trying. And you do not heal by denying your effort. You heal by honoring it. Now, return to our simple sentence, the one that completes the day. I release this day with love. Say it again. I release this day with love. And notice something. This is not a magical spell that makes life perfect. This is a practice that tells your system, I am no longer at war with myself. And that is where so much healing begins. Because when you stop being at war with yourself, you begin to hear guidance. You begin to feel intuition. You begin to sense the next step without forcing it. And this is another way the universe speaks, not by shouting, by making your inner world quiet enough for wisdom to be heard. Now, let's explore one more layer. Sometimes we cannot sleep because we are afraid of what sleep represents. Sleep is surrender. And if you've been through times when surrender didn't feel safe, your body may resist it. So tonight, we speak to that part too. We say, "Thank you for protecting me," because the part that keeps you awake is often trying to keep you safe. It thinks if you stay alert, you can prevent pain. But tonight, you are offering it a new kind of safety. The safety of presence. The safety of love. The safety of knowing that you can handle tomorrow, and that you do not need to pre-suffer tonight. You can say softly to yourself, "I can meet what comes one moment at a time." And then, I release this day with love. Now, I want you to remember, a day is not your whole life. It is a page. And you are allowed to close the page without carving it into your skin. You are allowed to end the chapter without turning it into a prophecy. If today contained disappointment, it does not mean your future is disappointment. If today contained conflict, it does not mean your life is conflict. If today contained heaviness, it does not mean you are heavy. It means you are human, living. And life has texture. Now let's make room for what you did not notice today, because the mind often focuses on what went wrong and misses what went right. Were there any small moments of goodness? A sip of water, a breath you took when you could have snapped, a moment when you kept going, a moment when you were honest, a moment when you chose not to abandon yourself. Even if it was tiny, it matters. And when you acknowledge that, you give your mind a different story, not a fake story, a fuller story. So you can whisper, "There was goodness here today," and then, without needing to list it all, "I release this day with love." Now, if your mind says, "But what if I repeat my mistakes tomorrow?" we answer that gently. You are not doomed to repeat. You are learning, and learning is not instant. Learning is repetition with compassion. So you can say, "I am willing to grow at the pace that is true for me." And then, "I release this day with love." Now let's bring this into the body again. Your body may have been asked to do too much today. To be strong when it was tired, to be polite when it was hurt, to be productive when it needed softness. So offer your body a message. You might say, "Thank you for carrying me today," and let that gratitude be real. Your body has been with you through everything, even when you judged it, even when you ignored it, even when you pushed it. It has stayed. And tonight, you return the favor. You soften, you listen, you release. I release this day with love. Now, here is another truth I know to be true. A loving mind creates a loving life. Not because it controls everything, but because it changes how you meet everything. And the way you meet life shapes your experience of life. So if tonight you meet yourself with love, you are already changing tomorrow. Not by force, by frequency, by choice. By the quiet decision to stop being cruel to yourself in private. Now, if there is anything you said to yourself today that was harsh, if you criticized yourself, if you called yourself names in your head, if you told yourself you weren't enough, let's undo that with compassion. Not by pretending you feel wonderful, but by telling the truth of your worth. You deserve good things. And one of the good things you deserve is a gentle inner voice. So tonight, you can choose one kind sentence toward yourself. Just one. Maybe, I am doing the best I can with what I know. Let that be enough for tonight. And then, I release this day with love. Now, allow yourself to feel what happens when you stop gripping. There may be a quiet space, a gap. And in that gap, you may notice something beautiful. Stillness, not empty, alive. This is where the universe often places its messages. In the stillness between your thoughts, in the softness after your release, in the moment you stop fighting reality and begin to cooperate with life. And you might not hear a sentence, you might feel it, a small, unexpected peace. That peace is not random. That peace is the universe saying, yes, here. This is the way. Now let's repeat our sentence again with the same words and new depth. I release this day with love. And let the love include you. Not the version of you that performs well, the real you. The one who sometimes gets it wrong. The one who sometimes feels too much. The one who sometimes doesn't know what to do. That you deserves love. Now let's go a little deeper into something many people feel at night. Regret. Regret is a heavy energy. It says, I should have known. But you see, you did what you did with the awareness you had in that moment. If you had more awareness, you might have chosen differently, and that means you're growing. So instead of regret, we can choose something more healing. Responsibility with compassion. That sounds like, I see what I would do differently next time, and I forgive myself for not knowing sooner. And then, I release this day with love. Now, if here is guilt. Guilt often comes from a belief that you must be perfect to be loved. But love was never meant to be earned by perfection. Love is your nature, and when you return to it, you heal. So tonight, you can say, I am willing to treat myself with kindness, and then I release this day with love. Now, let's speak to tomorrow. Sometimes we can't sleep because tomorrow feels heavy. You may already be anticipating demands, expectations, decisions. So we make a gentle agreement with life. We say, tomorrow will meet me when it arrives. And then I release this day with love. Because the mind loves to live in the future at night. It tries to outrun uncertainty, but you do not have to outrun life. Life is here, and in the infinity of life where you are, there is enough time for what matters. There is enough breath for this moment. There is enough support for the next step, even if you can't see it yet. Now, bring your attention back to your bed, to the surface beneath you. Let yourself feel supported. Maybe you haven't let yourself feel supported in a long time. You've been the supporter, the fixer, the strong one. Tonight, let the bed support you. Let gravity do its job. Let your muscles stop working. And if your mind tries to pull you back into the day, gently return. I release this day with love. Now, let's make this even more intimate. There is a part of you that is so tired of carrying, not just today, but many days, years, perhaps. Carrying roles, carrying expectations, carrying family patterns, carrying the idea that you must be okay for everyone else. Tonight, that part of you gets to exhale, and I want you to hear this as if the universe itself leaned close. You have done enough for today, not because everything is finished, but because you are finished for now. And that is holy. Now, we'll say it again, slowly. I release this day with love. And if you want, you can let your exhale carry the sentence out, like you're breathing the day out of your body, breathing it out of your shoulders, breathing it out of your chest, breathing it out of your forehead. You might even imagine the day leaving you like a gentle mist, not violently, softly. Now, let's include a little forgiveness. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. Forgiveness is saying, I will not poison my sleep with this. So if there is someone you're still holding tightly, you can say, I am willing to loosen my grip on this. Willingness is powerful. You don't have to force forgiveness. You can be willing. And then, I release this day with love. Now, notice how your body might be changing. Your breath may be deeper. Your face may feel softer. And if it doesn't yet, that's okay. We are not measuring success. We are offering love, and love works in its own time. Now I want to give you something you can do any time your mind tries to restart the courtroom. If a thought comes, you can say, this can wait, and bring your attention back to your sentence. I release this day with love. That becomes your doorway back to peace. Now, there may be one last thing your mind insists on holding. A fear, a responsibility, a what if. If it helps, you can picture the universe as something vast enough to hold what you cannot. Not in a religious way, in a spacious way, as if the night sky itself could hold your worry without strain. So you can mentally place that worry into something larger than you, and you can say, I do not have to hold this alone tonight. And then I release this day with love. Now, let's allow the day to become truly complete. Not because it was perfect, because it is over. Completion is not the same as perfection. Completion is simply the natural ending, and endings are necessary. So tonight, you honor the ending, you honor the closing, you honor the fact that you made it through. And the universe, which has been with you through every breath, receives your release. It takes what you are done carrying. It leaves you with what matters: your breath, your beating heart, your existence. Now, rest. As you drift toward sleep, remember, rest is not something you earn. It is something life offers you because you are alive. You do not have to be flawless to be worthy of sleep. You do not have to be ahead. You do not have to have it all figured out. Tonight, you only have to be here, breathing, existing, letting the body do what it knows how to do when you stop interfering. Restore. And if you wake for a moment in the night and thoughts return, do not scold yourself. Simply return to your sentence, like returning to a familiar, safe home. I release this day with love. And then let that be the last thing you hold. Not the worry, not the replay, not the unfinished conversation. Love, soft love, quiet love. The kind of love that doesn't demand anything from you, except honesty. Tonight, you are honest. Today happened. And now, you release it. With love, with tenderness, with the deep knowing that you are not alone, even in the dark, even in the quiet. Because the universe has not forgotten you. It is with you in this breath. It is with you in this softness. It is with you as you let go. And now you rest.